Today I'm going to be ranking every single episode of regular show Season 6 from worst to best. And Season 6 is when we finally start getting to that horrible debate on which season is the worst, 6, 7, or 8. And I personally think Season 6 has some incredibly high highs, some amazing episodes, but then if you go to the other side of that coin, it has some of the lowest of lows, some of the worst episodes in the entire series. So I'm going to be taking a look at the comedy, the action, the story, every single aspect of every single episode, giving them all plenty of time to shine and ranking them all from worst to best. And if you like content just like this about regular show, Gumball, Adventure Time, movies, and gaming, I make content like this all the time, so make sure you're subscribed. And as a little extra bonus for you, when I get to 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to be cosplaying as Benson, Muscleman, or Pops, depending on how that poll goes, and I'm going to be doing their eating challenge. So that's either going to be a hot dog eating contest, drinking the Mississippi Queen, or doing the milk challenge. So if you like that added bonus, you might as well be subscribed because you get awesome content, and then you get to watch me suffer. So yeah, without further ado, let's rank every single episode of regular show Season 6 from worst to best.
Eileen and I are dating!
And this is truly going to be a ranting season for me because number 27 is my least favorite episode in the entire series. You could probably guess it, Dumped at the Altar. I hate this episode so much. You probably know why, but let's just dive into it a little bit. Okay, this episode's all about Muscle Man's wedding, so you probably think, okay, this is going to be a fun episode, it's just going to be good vibes all around. One of our main characters is finally getting married. Perhaps they'll have to fight like a giant wedding god or something, just so that Muscle Man can have a great wedding day, or they'll get sucked into a universe where they have to like save Muscle Man so that he makes it on time to get married to Starla. No. It's nothing like that. It's so much worse than that. The episode focuses on Mordecai instead of Muscle Man, which I already think is an odd choice, and it focuses on Mordecai's struggles with, oh my gosh, Margaret just said that she likes me an episode ago, but I'm in a healthy relationship with this girl that is so much better for me and actually does things that I like, and I didn't only date for 2 weeks and then she abandoned me to go to a different school. Yeah, CJ is awesome, Margaret sucks, but either way, this is just such a tough choice for our main man Mordecai. So the entire episode, until we get to that horrible point, is just Mordecai being like, oh, it's gonna be so awkward for me to see Margaret and CJ at this wedding. I just don't know what I'm gonna do. It's just so hard. And then you have Rigby here, who is just honestly a Chad in this episode, just saying, hey man, it honestly doesn't have to be that confusing. You have a girlfriend. Why are you making this harder than it has to be? But Mordecai, of course, is going to make it so much harder than it has to be. And I hate it so much. Then we cut to Muscle Man, who is already, you know, a little bit anxious, a little bit heated because this is a very important day, and he can't find his letter from his dad, and he needs a letter from his dad in order to get married. So Mordecai and Rigby go to look for this letter, and they're just talking, and the only thing that I actually like out of this entire episode is just that we actually get confirmation that Rigby and Eileen are finally dating. Yes!
Eileen and I are dating!
I'm very happy for Rigby, but all of this had to come from Mordecai's just constant, like, freaking out for no reason. They find the letter, they head over there, and Muscle Man can't read it because he's just crying, because he's just filled with too much emotion, so Mordecai has to read it. And while he's reading this honestly heartfelt letter to Muscle Man,
it was your gut that told you you wanted to spend the rest of your life with this woman.
By the way, and I want to preface, this is Muscle Man and Starla's day, okay? Mordecai is reading this letter, and he has just an epiphany. He's staring at Margaret, he's staring at CJ, and I'm pretty sure what's running through his brain is the fact that he kind of wants to be with Margaret more than CJ, so in a way he's going to dump CJ now. So he decides, you know, after he's done reading this letter, and Pops is literally like, well, a jolly good show, let's get married, Muscle Man, and he starts, you know, continuing with the ceremony, and then Mordecai just starts hijacking it, and just going like, oh, I don't know. Who's my soulmate? Muscle Dad is right. Who's the right person for me? Is it that old woman over there? Is it this person right here?
Be anyone. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's that really old lady. I don't know.
Who could it possibly be? And it's just so cringy. You have Benson just going, why are you talking? You have Rigby going like this, telling him to hurry it up. Because why is he doing this? I hate it so much.
Why are you talking?
Oh, right. My point is,
There could have been so many better ways for you to just get CJ out of the show and just go back to the Margaret stuff than put us through this. I can't stand it. I don't find it funny, but Mordecai hijacking Muscleman's wedding is probably my least favorite scene in the entire show, and it's why I always will skip this episode, because why is he doing that? And when you take into consideration the placement of this episode, this is the season finale, and all of season 6 was all about, oh my gosh, Mordecai kissed Margaret and cheated on CJ, and then we get an entire episode about him fighting to get CJ back because he loves her, he needs her, just for him to pull this shit in the season finale, just the most cringe shit you could ever have, where he literally loses the girl that he just spent an episode trying to get back with, just for him to not even get with Margaret in the end. And I just, it's one of my least favorite things in regular show, and you could be all like, oh, well, it's funny because it's so cringe, or, oh, I'm so happy this is happening because, like, we get to see, like, some real world stuff, like, this is real. No, this is not real. This is not real at all. This is the fakest thing I've ever seen, and it pisses me off, and I hate what they did with Mordecai's character for this entire season. They ruined his character. Season 6 is Mordecai's worst. I think he gets much better in Season 7. Every other season, yeah, he has his problems, but he's still a good character. Season 6 Mordecai is a cheater, a cringe lord, and I just hate him. And yeah, okay, I'm done ranting about Dumped at the Altar. Worst episode of Season 6.
Fruitcake, fruitcake, we don't want to partake of your old fruitcake.
And then in number 26, we have the episode Merry Christmas, Mordecai. And boy, oh boy, let's just keep on rolling with the episodes that are trying to destroy Mordecai's character, because this episode is just so bad. I actually enjoy the beginning of it, where they're just at the coffee shop singing about fruitcake, just fruitcake, fruitcake, we don't want your fruitcake. I enjoy that a lot.
Fruitcake, fruitcake, we don't want to partake of your old fruitcake.
When a fruitcake comes out knocking, you just stuff that in your stocking.
Anytime they rap, that's always some just good fun. But everything else of the episode, I hate it. Eileen is telling Mordecai that Margaret is going to be at a Christmas party, and Rigby's like, well, that shouldn't really be a big deal, right? I mean, you're with CJ. But to Mordecai, this is the biggest deal in the entire world, because for some reason, if you have a girlfriend, you seeing your ex for an hour at a Christmas party is the end of the world. So he starts imagining every single possible scenario is going to happen with CJ, with Margaret. He just can't believe that they're both going to be at this party. He can't be an adult, and I don't know, I feel like it just makes it worse, the fact that this dude is like 26 years old. And yeah, I get it, relationships are hard, life is hard, but come on, man, you're 26. You could be in the same room with the two girls, and it shouldn't even be a problem. You're gonna be with your girlfriend the entire time, right? Well, turns out, Mordecai, at this party, he's alone with Margaret for maybe like, I don't know, 2 minutes, because CJ has to go and use the bathroom. And what happens in this 2 minutes? Oh, this like crazy like chandelier thing comes out and they start talking, and Mordecai just kisses Margaret. They just kiss each other because they were reminiscing about their past. So Mordecai cheats on CJ. CJ runs away crying.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't mean to do
really
that.
wasn't. I mean, Mordecai?
And that's the entire episode. Eileen's all like, and that's the third thing I was gonna tell you, Margaret's moving back in with me. Yeah, crazy developments, so crazy. I just love watching my main character just cheat on his girlfriend in an episode. That makes me so happy, and it's so enjoyable to watch Mordecai just turn into this horrible person. Because before, every single thing he did, yeah, it was cringe, but he never had like a bad intention with anything that he did. But here, he's literally just cheating on CJ, and then he goes on to try and get her back, and he wins her back just to break up with her. How am I supposed to enjoy this guy at all? Yeah, relationships are hard, but you shouldn't do any of this even remotely. No normal person who even struggles with relationships would do something like this. I don't get it, man. I don't get what they were going for. Were they trying to make us hate Mordecai this season? Because that's what it feels like. Because before this, we were getting so many good episodes with CJ and Mordecai that I was actually starting to like all of the romance relationship episodes, because they were just all lots of good fun, just like silly shenanigans that I'll talk about later. Season 5 had so many good romance episodes with CJ and Mordecai, but then we just get to this nonsense, and I hate it so much. Merry Christmas, Mordecai, definitely one of the worst episodes in the entire series.
You think I wouldn't find out? That you could just make a fool of me forever?
And coming in at number 25 is the episode Thousandth Chopper Flight Party, and I hate this episode so much. There's nothing redeemable about it. The episode is all about Mordecai going to the 1000th Chopper Flight Party for Margaret's dad because he's been up in the air 1,000 times. And all he has to do for literally like 30 minutes is just play it cool with Margaret, not do anything crazy, because this is after the episode Sad Sachs, where he went through all of this effort to get CJ back after cheating on her. So you would think, okay, he went through all of this effort to prove how much he loves her. He's just going to be chill the entire time. And to be honest, he is. He's really chill. He goes up in the air because he's the one that's chosen by Margaret's dad to go up into the air for the 1000th flight. That's super awesome. That's super cool. They're just hanging out, being friends. And yeah, you think it's going to be fine. And then CJ shows up, sees them up in the air together, and freaks out and just starts wreaking havoc, just freaking out, almost killing them all. And yeah, that's super bad for her character. I hate it so much. But I feel like this episode just exists for no reason other than to paint CJ in such a bad light and make her seem like the villain in this case, which I don't agree with that at all. A main thing that people were saying when this episode initially came out was, oh, I can't believe that, like, we're seeing CJ with all these trust issues. Like, I get it. Like, oh my gosh, like, Mordecai cheated on her, but Mordecai did so much to get her back. Like, she should be so trusting of this guy. Why would she be? She got cheated on by Mordecai with the girl that CJ has already had so many problems with in the past, with the inviting them to the same movie thing, the kissing thing now, just the constant worry of Margaret being with Mordecai. Yeah, that's a big issue. So of course she's gonna overreact a little bit that you're up there one-on-one with that girl. Like, you could have just said no to going up there because you knew how it would make your girlfriend feel. But either way, CJ is super pissed, and then Margaret's like, I have a boyfriend, so don't kill us. And then Mordecai's sad about that for some reason. What is the point of all these episodes of Mordecai loving CJ just for him to still be hung up on Margaret? I hate it so much. It's just so unenjoyable, especially for his character. It's just CJ looks horrible in this episode. Margaret looks horrible in this episode, especially when you know that she is lying, and just everybody looks so bad in this episode. The only highlights, I enjoy Margaret's dad a lot, and I think Rigby is funny in this episode, and he actually manages to inflict damage on Mordecai. He punches him in this episode, and it actually hurts him. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Thanks, Rigby.
Ah, ow.
That's payback for punching me on the couch.
But everything else just sucks. The episode exists to paint CJ as a villain, and I don't like that because I think everything that CJ has went through is perfectly valid, and we didn't need an episode that would just make CJ look like this awful, untrustworthy person, because she deserves to be untrusting of Mordecai. Mordecai should be on thin ice for what he did. So, like, you know, if this guy just like spent 2 weeks trying to prove how much he loved me, and then I was like, okay, I'll give you another shot, but you're gonna be on thin ice for a little while, and then literally a couple days after that they're up in a helicopter together, just them and their family, of course you're gonna be a little bit suspicious about that, right? Just a tad bit. Yeah, don't like this episode.
No! You're not my boyfriend!
And then coming in at number 24 is the episode Not Great Double Date, and we're just rolling with all these romance episodes because all of these episodes just suck, and their goal is to just make every single character look so dumb. And granted, you know, I'm an average Margaret hater, so this episode is great for just painting Margaret in a horrible light, but it doesn't make it enjoyable. And as you can see, these 4 episodes that I've talked about so far, they don't even feel like regular show episodes. Nothing crazy or fun even happens in them. They're just all romance nonsense, and none of it's even fun. It's just all character assassinations. How am I supposed to have fun with it? Okay, not a great double date. The episode is all about how Margaret and Margaret's boyfriend, Dale, and CJ and Mordecai are going to go on a double date to just show that they're all so good together and they can all be friends. CJ's actually being super cool here, trying to like form a friendship, form a bond with Mordecai's ex to make everything cool, to make everything happy. Yeah, that's honestly a pretty cool thing to do of CJ, but of course, you know, Margaret was lying about Dale ever being her boyfriend, and so they have to come up with this huge plan to like fake all of this so that Mordecai and CJ have no idea that Margaret doesn't actually have a boyfriend. And I actually did find this a little bit funny when they're like trying to come up with a plan to lie to Mordecai, that they go to Rigby and they meet him in the darkness and he's all like, you want me to lie to my best friend? but it'll keep him happy, right? Yeah, I enjoy that a lot.
So you're telling me that I'm meeting at this nondescript coffee shop to help you lie to my best friend?
I think Rigby's great. Rigby's definitely just always a highlight in like season 6, 7, and 8. He's just always so good. I think he's so funny. But either way, they come up with this huge plan about how they met on a hot air balloon and they fell in love. And so they go to this double date and it's going great until the story gets a little bit mixed up here and there. And then Margaret eventually confesses, you're not my boyfriend, when they're about to kiss because she just can't handle kissing Dale, even if they're just acting.
No! You're not my boyfriend!
So yeah, it's revealed, and CJ's obviously pretty pissed. Mordecai chases her, and Margaret's left there, just being like, oh, gosh, I can't believe this didn't work out. Why would you think it's going to? And what is enjoyable about this episode? It's just more boring relationship nonsense that leads to nothing. I like the romance episodes that actually feel like regular show. Like, you can make great romance episodes that have like cool stories and like cool regular show sounding like events happening. Like, you could have made this like, so they're on the double date and then, I don't know, like some crazy people start chasing them and Margaret has to confess it in some weird way. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I have no idea. But either way, this episode sucks. There's nothing enjoyable about it. It's just more boring stuff with all the Margaret, CJ, and Mordecai love triangle that leads nowhere.
Huh?
At number 23 is the episode Sad Sachs, and yes, we are not done with the relationship nonsense, and this episode is actually fine on its own. It's all about Mordecai trying to win CJ back after literally cheating on her, and he just goes through a bunch, and I mean a bunch of different like actions to try to make her in love with him again. He literally fakes being hit by a bus. Yeah, that one was a little bit too far. He does all of this stuff to try and make CJ love him again, and none of it's really working until the end of the episode where he climbs up onto like a light pole using all these Christmas lights and makes like a super grand big gesture. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire episode. I don't know. I really don't have a lot to say about this one. There's just really not a whole lot about it. It's literally like Mordecai just going around trying to get her back, and eventually she caves in and gets back with Mordecai. And yeah, there's a sad sax guy who plays his saxophone and is all like duh, 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 just with his sad music. And all of his advice sucks because Mordecai is going to him for advice, and eventually Mordecai goes to advice from his mom, and his mom's advice works, and yay, they're back together. And I don't know, I don't really care for this one. I don't even really feel like talking about it.
We're Canadians.
How dare you!
And coming in at number 22 is the episode Married and Broke, and finally we've escaped from the romance love triangle episodes, and I can finally talk about some stuff that is actually at least a little bit entertaining, because yeah, this episode is fine. Married and Broke, honestly pretty solid, pretty enjoyable throughout the entire thing. It's got a lot of interesting plots, actually makes me laugh, unlike the past few episodes we were talking about. The episode is all about Muscleman and Starla going on this game show, and if they win, they could get the wedding of their dreams, because they want onion ring towers and a blimp that rains buffalo sauce. Yeah, they need it all.
And she's like a chick. And we want 10-foot onion rings at our wedding.
They need just the ultimate obese wedding. And so they're on this game show, and I actually like all the aspects of the game show. I think it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like the Fool Me Twice episode. That's like the entire layout of it. Yeah, they have to do this ultimate obstacle course at the end. And I like all of their competitors. I like the puppy people, the rich people, and then you have the ultimate patriotic USAA people who are just super patriotic. I think they're super funny. Their like entire like introduction speech is really funny about how they're carrying the money on their backs and it got blown up by a grenade, but they did it all for America.
But we'd do it again.
For America!
I actually think that they're pretty funny and a pretty good antagonist for the episode. And then, of course, you have the game show like host who is just a Steve Harvey ripoff. I enjoyed that a lot. And we just get Muscleman and Starla doing all these tasks, and they make it all the way to the finale, and they're going against these people, and they just use their power of love, because that's what they always do anytime Muscleman and Starla are together, and just start kissing, and that makes them start floating in this giant pink gem towards the finish line, and they end up still losing to the USA people until it's revealed that they're going USAA, USAA, and it's revealed that they're Canadian, so everyone just like hates them and makes them lose because because they're too good. They're too good to be on this game show. I thought that was so funny. It was just so good. And then you have the one person in the audience who's just like, no wonder they were so perfect. Like, it's just like making fun of Canadian people, but at the same time praising them for being amazing, and I enjoyed it so much.
We're Canadians.
How dare you?
And then I would be mistaken not to mention the B-plot in this episode. What is everybody else doing while Muscleman and Starla are on Married and Broke? Well, Muscleman put all of his money into ants. Yeah, he had ants as his stocks. He, like, invested all of his money in ant farms, which is already super funny all on its own. But it turns out that all these ants break out and just start a war with all of our guys, and it's so funny. I love it so much.
Curse you, Mordecai and Rigby! We'll get you!
But either way, this episode's fine for what it is. I don't think it's like the best in season 6. I don't think it's the worst. I think it's just a very average regular show plot. There's nothing like that's too amazing about it, but I was still entertained throughout the entire thing. It gave me a couple of laughs, but it's not enough to get it super high up on the list.
Leaves in my mouth. Huh? You gonna rake up these leaves?
And coming in at number 21 is the episode Park Manager's Lunch. And in this episode, it's all about how Benson is going out to a lunch with Gene and a bunch of other park managers because, you know, he's just that good of a boss. But everybody else in the park, they think that this is a little bit suspicious. And I really like all of the scenes leading up to this where they're trying to just sabotage Benson and put a tracker on him, where they're just faking raking leaves and then they just throw it on him and throw leaves in his face. I thought that was super funny.
Leaves in my mouth. Huh? You gonna rake up these leaves?
But either way, they put a tracker on him and they follow him to this lunch. And yeah, Benson's just having this lunch, but then he eventually spots him. He yells at them because why are they even there? Why are they trying to ruin this for him? And they're all like, oh, shucks, man. Benson is a really good boss. We should just let him be. So they all leave, and then Benson literally gets kidnapped by Gene and taken to the park manager's lodge, where it looks like they're going to kill them. I mean, it honestly looks like they're going to kill Benson here. So everybody comes, breaks him out, and we just get this chase scene that's actually pretty epic, where they're just running away from all these park manager lodge people.
You owe me a pizza shop!
And then they eventually get all the way back to the park, and Gene's all like, you're not allowed in our secret lodge, our secret cult of park managers. And Benson's like, fine, they were just trying to look out for me. I don't even want to be in your club anymore. But it turns out that that was all the tests. The workers were supposed to come and try and save Benson. That was how he was supposed to get inducted. So Benson is allowed in. He's super happy because of course he is. He has to be in the lodge. He has to be in that club. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire episode. This episode's fine for what it is. I think the chase scene towards the end of it with all the park manager lodge people chasing after them was pretty good. I don't really understand why they were sending all these people to their potential deaths, if in reality they wanted this to happen. So why were they going through all of this effort to try and get Benson back if they wanted this to happen? I didn't really understand that. But overall, it's a fine episode. It's nothing too crazy. That's why it still ranks pretty low. It's still enjoyable.
And try to be more attractive.
Number 20 is the episode Men in Uniform, and just the first 8 minutes of this episode, nothing happens. The episode is all about how Maylard is going to shut down the park, and the only way that they could stop this is if they get the visitors to come up, like actually have people coming to the park. And so it's just like 8 minutes of them just trying all of these random things, and none of them work, and none of it's even really that funny. It's just all like average things, and nobody comes to the park. And I do enjoy when they're just all like, well, we're gonna lose our jobs, so let's go eat some wings. And then they're eating wings in a gazebo, and they're like, oh, I love the park. Oh, it's such a jolly good park. But where are we? Because they're actually in East Pines. They're in Gene's park. They're not even in their own park. And I thought that was pretty funny.
That's actually pretty solid.
Get him out of here.
That entire sequence is pretty good. And eventually they decide that the only way that they could save the park is if they get brand new uniforms. So we get this montage of them creating the uniforms, and they show up and they're like the worst things you could ever wear, but it makes a bunch of people come to the park because they're so ugly and everybody has to see it. So it brings a bunch of visitors, and they realize that they're not actually here for the park. They're here to just look at them. So they throw all of their uniforms in a pile, and so it creates this black hole that sucks up anything that is ugly. And this is where the episode starts to rank up a little bit higher on this list, because I think this entire end sequence is actually pretty good, with it just sucking up a bunch of things, and everybody at the park is fine except for Muscle Man because he's ugly. So he's just clinging onto a tree, and Benson's all like, Muscle Man, try to make yourself look more beautiful. So he just starts combing his hair.
And try to be more attractive?
I thought that gag was pretty funny. And then you have these rich snobby people walking over and they're like, look at those ugly people all getting sucked up. And then they get sucked up because they were ugly on the inside. I thought that was pretty good. And then you eventually have Huge Head making his return. Yeah, the guy that Pops crushed with his car back in the episode Really Real Wrestling. Yeah, he's finally back for his revenge. It only took him 5 seasons to actually make a move. And he grabs Pops, is trying to take him into this portal. And Huge Head gets stuck in it, and he's going to just be there forever now. And he's very happy because everybody comes to the park just to look at this giant floating head, and he's happy because he's finally getting all of the understanding, all of the nourishment that he needs.
Finally, the attention I deserve. I'm so happy.
And yeah, good for him. The visitors are up because they want to see this giant floating head, and the park gets to stay alive. Overall, this episode is fine. It ranks a little bit lower just because of those like first 7 minutes where literally nothing is happening and it's just kind of just a big old nothing burger. But everything else is pretty enjoyable. I really like the like black hole of ugliness thing. Thought that was pretty good.
I leave this world tonight is not a metaphor!
And number 19 is the episode The End of Muscleman. And Muscleman is literally going to die, dude. One of our main characters. It's the end of Muscleman, so the entire episode is just everybody going around to try and help him because Muscleman's gonna die. So Benson is just, cracking into his wallet, giving Muscleman the best day ever. Death literally shows up because it's so sad. So it literally looks like Muscleman's going to die. Dr. Henry calls to say that he better prepare and get all this stuff ready because he's going to cross into the next world. So literally everybody at the park is thinking that Muscleman is actually going to die. And so yeah, they're just giving him the best day ever. And they eventually end up at Wing Kingdom, and it's emotional, it's brutal. Muscleman's like saying, this is a mistake, I'm not ready to die. And yeah, he's literally saying stuff like, I'm leaving this world tonight, I gotta get my papers in order. So you think Muscleman might actually be dying here. So he's at Wing Kingdom, he gets taken into the back and he's brought out on a giant sculpture of himself. He's laying there motionless. Starla's there, she's like, Mitch, my Mitch, what did you do to my Mitch? And everyone's sad, they're crying, and God, I can't believe they killed off Muscleman. Until they didn't, because he just rises up like a phoenix from the flame, according to Pops, like a phoenix from the flame, because he just rises up and just starts dancing.
Like a phoenix from the flame.
And I thought that was so funny. It's so good. Why would he come up with something like this? He just starts dancing, hitting it, just using his legs, using his arms, dancing it up. Benson is pissed because Benson spent like 12 grand on him. And it turns out that this entire episode, Muscleman was just talking about Muscleman dying, not Mitch Sorenstein, because he was going to propose to Starla. Yeah, so yeah, everybody's a little bit pissed off at him, and Starla's all like, I don't want to marry you, Mitch. I want to marry Muscleman. So this entire like plot was for nothing because Starla wants Muscleman, not Mitch. She wants him to just be himself. And yeah, that's the entire episode. I really like Benson's reaction at the end. Everybody's reaction at the end is pretty good. Overall, just a pretty good episode. I really liked the entire beginning with everything just pointing to the fact that Muscleman is going to die. Just all of it, even Dr. Henry Death showing up. Just everything pointing to the fact that Muscleman is going to die, and then that ending was just honestly hilarious. This episode's pretty average though, that's why it doesn't rank that much higher up on the list. I think it's funny, I think it's pretty funny, but as a regular show episode, it's not too crazy. It's just a comedic one, to be honest.
Can you just be normal?
Normal?
Yeah, normal. Ever heard of it?
And coming in at number 18 is the episode Maxin' and Relaxin', and this is one of the episodes that I think could have been so much better if it wasn't an episode that was trying to make Mordecai look so bad. What was this obsession in season 6 to paint Mordecai as this horrendous person? Because in this episode, he's just made out to be so bad. And yes, you could understand it a little bit because he's embarrassed, but why are you gonna be a dick to your mom? For no reason, dude, I hate it. The episode opens with CJ and Mordecai just, chilling chilling, just like, whoop, there it is. You know, they're just having a good time, and CJ's all like, oh, I should meet your mom. And so, yeah, Mordecai's really nervous about this because Mordecai's mom can be a little bit embarrassing, but it's your mom, dude. You're supposed to love her no matter what, especially if she's caring for you and just trying to help you and just loves you a lot. If your mom was a horrible person and was actually like trying to ruin your life, then yeah, that's perfectly fair for you to be upset about CJ wanting to meet your mom. But in this case, Mordecai's mom seems pretty awesome. So they eventually get there, and Mordecai's mom is being, you know, a little bit awkward, but is being a nice person. And Mordecai is just being a horrible person the entire time. Literally eating a dessert that she made specifically for CJ, telling her to act normal and to be normal for once in her life.
Can you just be normal?
Normal?
Yeah, normal. Ever heard of it?
Just being so mean, not excited to see her. He's annoyed anytime that she's talking. And we also learn that Mordecai's mom wants to show the tape Morty Moments, which is just a collection of Mordecai's most embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
And instead of being, you know, the average 26-year-old and saying, hey, can we not show that tape? I actually don't like it. He's like, I'm going to try and destroy the tape, one of her most treasured possessions that just showcases her son growing up and probably has moments that she cherishes, regardless of if it's Mordecai's least favorite moments in her life. She probably cherishes those moments and all of the memories that came after it. So Mordecai goes down in the basement. He tries to destroy the tape. And that's when all of the past versions of himself come out. And they're all like, dude, this isn't cool, bro. You shouldn't be doing this, bro. It's your mom. You shouldn't be a dick to her for no reason, and just show him a bunch of like clips from how horrible he's been to his mom all night. And yeah, Mordecai realizes that, oh man, my mom is really cool. Maybe I shouldn't be being a bad person. And he goes up there and watches Morty Moments and has a great time with CJ and his mom, which he could have been having the entire night. And I mean, this episode's fine. It's pretty good. I think it's enjoyable. I just don't like that this entire season is just assassinating his character, because this could have been such a fun episode with all the Morty Moment stuff. You could have still had all the embarrassment plot line, but Mordecai didn't have to be an asshole to his mom the entire time. He could have been nice to his mom. He could have enjoyed his mom's presence, but instead they just decided to make him hate his mom for this episode for no reason other than, oh, I'm embarrassing a little bit. And she's not even that bad. She just seems like a nice, like extroverted person, but no, he's going to be a dick to her and just try and ruin her night. And then it's all resolved in the end, but it could have just been, oh man, I'm super embarrassed. I'm super worried about this tape. So they could have made like the tension, like Mordecai trying to find this tape, looking for it everywhere, trying to sneak away to find it. And then he eventually does. And then we still get that ending with all of his past selves trying to tell him that it's okay, that his embarrassment doesn't own who he is now, and that CJ is cool and that his mom is cool, still cool. But no, they just try to make Mordecai look horrible in this episode, and I feel like that's why I don't like it that much. Overall, a fine episode, but definitely not one of the best of this season. And coming in at number 17 is the episode Daddy Issues, and this is how you do a Mordecai CJ episode right, because this episode is actually enjoyable, actually feels like a regular show episode, has that anything but regular feel to it that I enjoy so much. The episode is all about how they're just at Cheezers, they're having a good time, that being Mordecai, Rigby, CJ, and Eileen, and they decide to do this little mini golf thing, because if you're able to get a hole in there, then your meal is free. And CJ, she's able to nail it, even after like Rigby fails. I think Rigby is a major highlight of this episode. He's just so funny. All of his reactions to everything is just so good because he really just wants free Cheezers and just to be able to cut the line whenever he wants. But either way, CJ just nails it, gets it all the way in that hole perfectly. And this means that this guy just bursts through the wall and he's all like, congratulations, you can now compete in this super awesome mini golf tournament. Yay! But CJ doesn't want to do this because apparently her dad is Carl Putter and is just this narcissistic asshole who just made her entire life growing up all about mini golf and would just beat her constantly and just make her feel bad about herself constantly all over mini golf. But she decides to enter it anyway because, I mean, he's not going to be there, right? There's no way he's going to be there. But it turns out that he is. And this leads to his dad joining the mini golf tournament to go up against CJ. And actually, it's pretty good. I enjoy all the mini golfing. And then the finale is really awesome. We get CJ versus Carl Putter in the finale, and they're going to go up against these like giant gopher monster people. and I think that they're so funny. This turned out way better than I thought it was when they just revealed all these gophers. I mean, you have one of them, like a giant one that gets hit in the balls. It's just so good. Such a great ending to the episode with all these gophers while they're just trying to still do the mini golfing. I enjoyed it a lot. And then you still have Rigby being a highlight. He's just so funny. Eileen is pretty funny here. You have CJ actually beating her dad and fixing her relationship with her dad here because her dad cares about her in the end more than mini golf. So that's fixed. It's just some good character stuff. It's just some good funny moments, and it's just a really good ending to the episode. And overall, it's pretty dang decent. So yeah, compared to all the other romance episodes in this season, I think it's definitely one of the better ones. It has a lot of good moments, and yeah.
That horse right there fell out of the sky and has to pass a U.S. history test or the whole Earth is going to explode.
Coming in at number 16 is the episode Party Horse, and believe it or not, I've never been too big on Party Horse. He's definitely not one of my favorite characters in the show. I mean, his first episode, that being this one, is honestly fine, but it's when he gets another episode, I think in season 7, that I'm just like, why did they bring you back? You're not that interesting. But either way, Moreai and Rigby just are, doing their job, and then a horse comes from a space pod that honestly looks like a Saiyan ship. That's kind of what I thought it was at first.
There's nothing on earth that's gonna stop me from eating this burger.
But no, it's Party Horse, and Party Horse is apparently running away from Principal Party Horse because he doesn't want to do a U.S. history test. So Moreai and Rigby have to try and help him to pass this U.S. history test, trying to teach him all about U.S. history, and Party Horse just has to party at every single turn, no matter where he is, because he's a party animal. He's Party Horse. He's got to party it up, and so they try to take him to a bunch of different places so that he could study for the test, and none of it really works because Party Horse is just not that guy. And that's until Principal Party Horse shows up, and I really like the scene where they're trying to tell Benson that Party Horse needs to take this test because it's just the most regular show sentence you could ever hear.
That horse right there fell out of the sky and has to pass a U.S. history test or the whole Earth is going to explode.
And it sums up basically the entire show. It's so good. And Party Horse gives this big old speech about how Principal Party Horse should not blow up the planet because if he blows up the planet, it's not Earth's fault. It's all Party Horse's fault. So don't blow it up no matter how I do on my test. And he agrees to this, and then he just like draws Principal Party Horse just looking like an idiot and then runs away.
What?
Jerk horse.
And that's the entire episode. I think it's fine. I think it captures what regular show is supposed to be, and Party Horse is fine. Overall, definitely not one of my favorite episodes in the entire season. It's just kind of a, this is entertaining, but it's not the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
This sandwich cost me $85.
At 15, we have the episode Lunch Break, and I think the beginning of this episode is hilarious. Everybody's just hard at work, working to repave the basketball court, and so Benson's like, I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm gonna get you all sandwiches. Pick anything from the menu, and Moreai and Rigby, of course, have to ruin it all, and they pick the number 86. And what do you think that the number 86 is going to be? Well, it's like a 8-foot-long sub, and Benson is reasonably pissed off about this. So he's all like, if you guys don't finish that sub by the time the day is over, you're fired. So yeah, it's a Moreai and Rigby food eating challenge, and in order to keep eating this massive sandwich, they just have to keep on telling story after story about all of their food challenges, and I actually enjoyed listening to all of these where they like try to eat a bunch of cereal because Rigby's dad forces them to so that they could get an RGB2 toy, and then they tell another story about how they try to eat an entire extra large pizza and the guy just steals their video game console because they couldn't complete it. I thought that was pretty good. And then eventually they have to make up their own story because they're out of food eating stories to try to finish the sandwich because the stories were helping them to eat more of it. And I enjoyed this a lot. I thought it was visually a lot of fun with this giant sandwich running away from them in all of these different like visually pretty cool areas, and they're just trying to chase the sandwich, and then eventually the sandwich is afraid and they're able to eat the sandwich.
Hurry before it changes again.
And I liked the ending where Benson's all like, okay, now give me 50 laps. Overall, a pretty fun episode. The beginning made me laugh the most, just with Benson taking it out of his car and just laughing maniacally. I thought that was pretty good. Everything else was definitely just fine. I mean, all of the stories were pretty entertaining. The final story was visually pretty awesome, and it makes for a pretty decent episode. Definitely earns its spot. And number 14 is the episode New Bro on Campus, and we finally get Muscleman and High Five Ghost's origin story on how they became friends. And I actually found this episode to be pretty enjoyable. The beginning of it is pretty funny, where it's just a video of Muscleman trying to deep fry a south of the line chili relleno, and it just doesn't go very well. I think it's pretty funny. I'm just gonna show it to you. That was pretty good. That was some pretty good stuff. And it turns out that High Five Ghost accidentally posted this to a website, and it gets 50 million views. So Muscleman is just done with High Five Ghost. He doesn't want to be his friend anymore. And Mordecai and Rigby eventually get to asking Muscleman how they even became friends in the first place. So Muscleman tells the story of how they met in high school, and how Muscleman used to be the king of the school, the coolest guy in the school. He had his own parking spot, and that was until High Five Ghost showed up. And High Five Ghost is just the nicest guy ever, is literally just trying to be his friend. But because High Five Ghost is pulling all the women, stealing his friend, beating him in a nacho eating contest, Muscleman doesn't like him very much, so he challenges him to a drag race. And the entire drag race scene, actually pretty epic, actually pretty enjoyable. It was pretty awesome.
Time to jump this gorge.
And it ends with them literally like crashing into each other and creating the crash pit. High Five Ghost has to save Muscleman and pull him up out of the crash pit, and that's how they became friends. Overall, a pretty good episode. It was really enjoyable to see Muscleman back in the day and High Five Ghost back in the day. I don't understand how High Five Ghost works. How could he be a ghost, but how could he grow hair? And is he balding technically, or does he shave his head? I don't understand how High Five Ghost works as a person in the world. Did he die, or was he born a ghost? I don't understand, but either way, it's nice to see some characters' origin stories. I'm never really against that. It's always enjoyable. We got a pretty cool drag race out of this episode. We got some good stuff in the past. We got lots of good moments for our characters. Made me laugh a couple of times, and definitely earns the number 14 spot.
The least I could... I quit.
What?
I quit!
And coming in at number 13 is the episode Lift With Your Back. And although this may not be the craziest regular show episode, I think it's an amazing episode for Rigby's character. In the beginning of the episode, it's just Rigby covering for Mordecai over and over and over again so Mordecai can go and hang out with CJ. And then when it gets to that pivotal moment, that Benson's all like, hey, Mordecai, can you stick around to help Rigby change a light bulb? And Rigby's all like, no, I could do that on my own. And you'd think because, you know, Rigby's been covering for Mordecai over and over and over again, that maybe Mordecai would stick up for him and say, yeah, you're able to change a light bulb, Rigby. But no, Mordecai throws him under the bus, everybody laughs in Rigby's face, and everybody says that Rigby can't even do it. And when Rigby's all like, Mordecai, can you tell everybody that I'm useful and that I've been helping you out for the past few weeks? Mordecai still is all like, yeah, no, you're just my friend, you know, you wouldn't even have this job without me. You wouldn't do anything without me, buddy. You can't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, you're fun.
What? No, tell him I'm useful.
Yeah, you're my friend.
So Rigby reasonably quits, and he gets another job with the Lift With Your Back moving company, which is one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my entire life, because it's literally just them lifting with their backs instead of their legs, and their backs are all really grotesque. I don't like it because their backs all have like pecs and six packs.
Ew!
It's very weird to look at, but either way, it eventually culminates in Rigby having to move an entire trailer all by himself to prove that he could truly do it all on his own to get his actual paycheck. And you know, thanks to some divine power and some motivation from Eileen, he's able to do it. He's able to rub that check in Mordecai's face, and Mordecai gives a really half-assed apology. I think, God, I wish sometimes that Rigby was like 6 feet tall and had muscles and could just sock him in the face for being such an asshole. But either way, it's a great episode for Rigby's character, and it's just giving Rigby that plot line, that plot device to show that he is becoming a better person. He's becoming a person that could do things on his own without Mordecai, and yeah, I enjoyed that aspect a lot. And overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode, but mainly just for Rigby's character growth here.
Today's gonna be A-okay, 'cause we're celebrating your birthday.
And coming in at number 12 is the episode Happy Birthday Song Contest. And this episode is exactly what the title says. It's going to be Mordecai and Rigby attempting to rewrite the Happy Birthday song because nobody likes that god-awful song. They need something new, they need something fresh. And so Mordecai and Rigby, they make the perfect song on their first try. And I actually enjoy all the ways that they try to cover this up with Muscleman ripping ass. a vacuum cleaner, just anything that could possibly come in that will affect, us not being able to hear the song until the grand finale at the end. I enjoyed all of that. I enjoy when they ask Benson if they could go to this contest, and Benson's all like, of course you can. You need to go. I'm so sick of Happy Birthday, and he just starts like tweaking about it because apparently in this universe everybody hates that song.
Counting on you guys to put that Happy Birthday song in its grave. I can't.
And honestly, I get it. I don't like it when people sing me that song. It's not enjoyable. I would prefer Mordecai and Rigby's birthday song over that piece of garbage, and if you want me to be honest, it's pretty dang good. And so they eventually go to the contest, they're about to sing the song, and that's when Happy Birthday himself shows up. And I like that he's just a giant birthday cake, and he takes over everybody's minds and starts singing Happy Birthday to you, just to showcase that it'll never leave. It's just that perfect song. But that's when Mordecai and Rigby come out with the steel, and they're just like, today's gonna be a-okay, because we're celebrating your birthday. Happy birthday, everybody. Celebrating your birthday.
Today's gonna be a-okay, cause we're celebrating your birthday.
And yeah, it's actually a pretty, positive song. It's pretty enjoyable. It wasn't really what I was expecting with all the hype and all the build-up, but overall it's pretty good. I think it's way more enjoyable than the original Happy Birthday song, that's for sure. It gets you hyped. It makes you like excited for it to be your birthday. Everybody starts singing it, everybody claps, and the original Happy Birthday is just castrated, thrown to the side for this brand new song. And overall the episode's pretty good. It's just a pretty feel-good episode. Nothing too crazy happens aside from, Happy Birthday showing up. Other than that, it's just pretty solid. Happy Birthday as a villain, he works pretty well. The song contest is pretty good. All the build up to it is pretty good. Really gets you hyped up to hear that song. And I think the payoff is definitely there and makes for a pretty good grounded episode.
Let's just see what the problem is and go from there. Mordecai and Rigby!
And then coming in at number 11 is the episode Gamers Never Say Die, and we got another just pretty grounded episode here, where there's just Mordecai and Rigby just playing a video game. They manage to beat it, and at the end of it, it reveals a map to the golden game badges from Morimoto. This is very exciting, so Mordecai and Rigby have to find a way to take the TV with them and get all the way to these golden game badges. And they go to Skips, and they're like, Skips, do you have a way to, make the car battery and like the TV stay on forever? And Skips is like, well, I've seen this before. Of course I do. And so they steal Benson's car battery. So Benson is going to be pretty pissed for this episode.
Let's just see what the problem is and go from there. Mordecai and Rigby!
And I think Benson is hilarious. And it's just all about Mordecai and Rigby just following this map, going to this mall, going beneath this mall, and honestly, the underneath of this mall looks super cool. If I was like a teenager and I found this, I would hang out here forever. It looks so awesome.
Oh.
This would definitely be such a chill spot. But either way, they just keep on going while Benson is just hot on their trail trying to figure out where they're going. And Benson is really funny in this episode, just like trying to find them. I thought he was so good because he's just so angry the entire time. And they eventually find the golden game badges, and that's when Benson shows up, literally busting through the wall, and he's all like, I'm over this. I need my car battery back, and I'm taking all these golden game badges. And that makes the entire place just start crumbling around them, breaking apart. They're able to barely escape, and yeah, they said some really kind words to Morimoto, his like corpse sitting there. So Morimoto comes back to life as like a astral projection and gives them the map to another like ultimate diamond crystal badge or whatever, I don't know. And Benson and Skips pull him in the car, run away. And I really like this ending part of the episode where Mordecai and Rigby are just like, Benson, if you just like wanted to hang out with us, you could have just asked. And Benson blushes because he actually does like Mordecai and Rigby at this point in the series, and probably did just want to spend the day going on this awesome adventure, but he just portrayed himself as the villain here because they stole his car battery. And overall, it's a pretty good episode. It's also a really grounded one. Again, nothing too crazy happens. It's just a lot of good character interactions. Mordecai and Rigby are a lot of fun here. Benson is a lot of fun here. Skips in the beginning. He's always good. And yeah, it's just a pretty solid episode. Nothing too crazy, just pretty entertaining from beginning to end.
Start the road to healing? Oh, Dad,
And coming in at number 10 is the episode Format Wars 2, and this episode is kind of overshadowed, at least for me, by the first one, The Last Laserdisc Player, because I think that episode was honestly peak, and this one doesn't necessarily, not live up to the hype of the first episode. I think it's still pretty solid, pretty good, but I feel like it's definitely overshadowed by that one a little bit, but it doesn't mean that this isn't a good episode, and this episode is all about how they just want to watch a movie on the Laserdisc. That's all they want. They just want to watch a simple movie. And this time, Benson is with them. I think Benson was a great addition to this kind of story because, Benson's just why is this happening kind of personality just goes so well with everybody else just being so nonchalant about the fact that they have to do this every single time they want to watch a movie. So they have to go and they have to find the Discmaster Guardian guy from the first Laserdisc episode. And it turns out that there's another format coming or something because Microfiche warns them and he's all like, new format coming, special features, DVD. So they have to go and find the universal remote, and I really like that Benson is the key to finding the universal remote, and just his head is used as this beam. I thought that was so funny.
Rigby, put me down?
And they eventually find it, and that's when DVD shows up, and DVD's army and internet. And we actually get a pretty cool fight out of this with all of the formats, all of the workers going up against DVD's army. I think the fight is honestly pretty epic. It's really cool where everybody's just trying to figure out how to use the universal remote, and the internet turns on DVD and kills DVD's father, the guardian of the Laserdiscs. Oh, what a crazy death.
Gonna start the road to healing? Oh, Dad,
No! And so DVD is now on our side, and we're all fighting against the internet, and it's honestly pretty cool, and they're eventually able to defeat the internet by shutting down the cell tower, and it's all pretty epic. It's honestly pretty awesome, and it makes for a pretty good episode, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. This definitely isn't one of my favorite episodes in the entire series. I know it's beloved by a lot of people, and it would probably even crack some people's top 10 in the entire series, but for me, I think it's just fine. I really did enjoy the fight. I feel like this episode would honestly fit more into all of the season 4 shenanigans compared to season 6. It definitely feels like a season 4 episode of regular show, and I probably would enjoy it a lot more if it was in that arena. But either way, I'm glad that we got this episode, and I enjoy it a lot. The fight was epic. We got some great comedic moments with the Discmaster stuff. Overall, a pretty good episode.
Makes my butt look a bit flat, though. Nice.
And coming in at number 9 is the episode Benson Suit, and this episode just exists solely to make Benson look like a badass, even though it's just unintentional, because it's all his suit doing the work. And I really like the opening of this episode, where we just get this rich guy trying to buy this suit, and it turns out that this suit is alive, and it's worth just so much money that the owner's just not willing to give it to this guy, because he doesn't even want to pay remotely the correct price for it. And so he kills the father of the suit comes to life and starts running away from this guy, and who is going to find this suit? None other than our main man, Benson Dunwoody. In this suit, it does everything for Benson. It gives him confidence, it gives him an inflated ass.
Makes my butt look a bit flat, though. Nice.
It gives him everything that he could possibly need to be a more respected man. Mordecai and Rigby even start calling him Sir because the suit just makes him look that fly. And the only problem with this is that the suit is alive and makes Benson a powerful man who is capable of stopping robbers, and it's just one of the greatest suits of all time. So this rich guy is not going to let this suit slip out of his fingers. So the rich guy comes after Benson, and we just get this awesome sequence of Benson, well, mainly the suit fighting this army, but Benson fighting this entire army off, lifting tanks, throwing people, jumping up and destroying a helicopter. It's just all so cool. It makes Benson look so awesome, even if it is just truly the suit. But hey, Mordecai and Rigby don't need to know that. And this entire episode just paints Benson as a badass. I love it so much. We get such a great epic fight out of it.
Thanks, but wait, no thanks!
But because, the suit is just so powerful, Benson has to destroy it so the powerful men don't keep coming back for this suit, which I didn't really get because, I know it puts people in harm, but it's very obvious that Benson is clearly capable of fighting entire armies when he's wearing the suit, so I don't know why he wouldn't just keep on wearing it to keep all of his friends safe from literally anybody. And eventually people have to realize that, hey, maybe we shouldn't come after this guy with the suit because he's just laying waste to every single army that comes after it. But either way, this episode's really enjoyable, great fight out of it, some good comedic moments. I like Mordecai and Rigby Rigby sucking up to Benson just because he's looking so good. And yeah, it's overall a pretty entertaining episode. Definitely earns its spot.
Oh, a punching Prime Minister!
Nah, I'll believe it when I see it.
I will!
And coming in at number 8 is the episode Mordecai and Rigby Down Under. And they're going to Australia, mate. They're going down there because they accidentally took a nap inside of a crate. Well, not accidentally. They chose to take a nap inside of a crate. And they end up in Australia because this box got shipped all the way down under. And I really like this episode. I think it's a lot of fun. It's definitely not the craziest episode that there could be, but Mordecai and Rigby just being in Australia, just going through it, walking around, just going through all these crazy shenanigans. I enjoy it a lot. I really like the beginning where they're just at this like outpost area and there's just this guy that's angry saying, "I'm gonna punch the Prime Minister. I'm going to punch him."
Oh, a punching Prime Minister!
Nah, I'll believe it when I see it.
I will!
Yeah. And he's like, "I'll believe it when I see it." And Rigby just takes this as he's going to use the bathroom because he runs to the porta potty right after. And yeah, so they now think that saying punching the Prime Minister means that you're going to the bathroom. And Mordecai and Rigby end up missing the bus, so they decide that they're just going to try and walk all the way to the airport. And they realize that this is a horrible idea because they have no idea where they're going. They just get lost and they eventually pass out. And I really like this entire sequence of them just passed out because it's just so weird. Because it's just like a koala is playing the flute. We get to see Benson's head. We just get all these crazy visuals and it's actually super enjoyable. I liked it a lot. And eventually Mordecai and Rigby are awoken to see an aborigine, a just man that is a native to Australia and is a primitive man. And they're like, "Oh man, can you help us? Can you lead us out of here?" And he's just like, "Mm-hmm." And so he takes them all the way to the road, and that's when the dude just takes out his earbuds and he's all like, "Oh, I was just listening to music. Sorry, chaps. I was just listening to music." And apparently he's just like naked, but he's wearing nude pants. Like, it's not even like he's actually naked. He's just wearing pants that make him appear naked. And why? I thought that was so weird.
PhD, Cambridge. You probably thought these were real too. Nude pants.
And so Mordecai and Rigby run into these people that have a truck and they ask for a ride to the airport. And they're all like, "Well, you got anything for us, mate?" And so Mordecai and Rigby do a little dance. And they're like, "Maybe we'll get home. Maybe we won't." Thought it was pretty enjoyable. And then they just get their ass beat by kangaroos. Also pretty funny. I mean, what's wrong with that? It's just kangaroos beating their ass. They get all the way to the airport, and that's when they have to save the Prime Minister from getting punched from that guy earlier who said he was going to punch the Prime Minister by throwing a football at him. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire episode. There were a lot of moments in this episode that made me laugh, gave me a good old-fashioned chuckle. That's why it ranks pretty high up on there. And I think this is definitely just one of those like slice-of-life episodes that you could just like kick back, relax. Nothing too crazy is going to happen. Nothing too like underwhelming is going to happen. It's just pretty entertaining throughout the entire episode, and I enjoyed the entire thing, and it's definitely an episode that I would rewatch a lot. Definitely one of the best of season 6.
Coming through! Pops, no! Whoa!
And coming in at number 7 is the episode Garage Door, and this episode is just so much fun. I love the opening of this episode so much because it's just such a meaningless prank. It's so heartless. It makes no sense why they would do this, but it's so funny nonetheless. Pops is going to just drive his car into the garage, but little does he know that Mordecai and Rigby painted over it with the garage, so it looks like the garage is open, but it's actually not, so Pops just drives into it, just jolly good shot! I thought that was so funny. That was so good. That made me laugh.
Coming through! Pops, no! Whoa!
I'm laughing just thinking about it. That was just such a good way to open the episode. So it's up to Mordecai and Rigby and Pops to go and get a brand new garage door. And they go to IKEA or Home Depot or whatever place. And it's just so giant that they need a guide simply to find the garage door section, which is all the way in the back of this giant warehouse. And I'm glad that we get the excellent night guy coming back to help them out through their journey. I was glad that we got to see them. And they just go through all these different trials and they're all super enjoyable. I mean, we get this trial with the nuts and bolts guy where they have to separate all the nuts and bolts. I thought that was pretty good and the ending was pretty good.
It's neither.
You have passed the test.
We get them having to go through this toilet guy and unclog the toilet. We just get so many different trials here, and they're all pretty enjoyable. I mean, we get the jazzy bed, which Pops is super pumped about because it's just a bed that plays jazz and it's on wheels and it's super fast for some odd reason. And then we get this giant gates where this night guy just dies.
I just wanted a garage door!
but they're barely able to make it through. It's just so cool, and it's honestly such a epic episode, even though it's just about going to get a garage door, and that's what I expect from a regular show episode. A crazy concept derived from something so simple like going to buy a garage door. And eventually they do make it all the way there. They make it to the garage door, and I love that the garage door salesman is a garage door. That was so good. And he's showing off this garage door, and it collapses on top of him, and they have to save him using the jaws of life, and it's all so good. It's great. They get a brand new garage door. Love it. Live for it. It's amazing. Such a classic regular show episode. You could put this type of episode in like season 1, 2, 3, or 4, and I wouldn't bat an eye. It's just that good. Definitely deserves its spot.
Breathe. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing.
And coming in at number 6 is the episode I See Turtles, and this is the part of the list where people might start to disagree with me a little bit because they probably put these next 2 episodes way lower, but I love this episode. This episode is all about how Eileen wants to take everybody to this awesome beach bonfire party to watch all of these baby sea turtles hatch. Yeah, it's a pretty wholesome premise, and that's what we're gonna get. So we got CJ, Mordecai, Rigby, and Eileen all going to this super awesome turtle hatching party, and they discover this like little resort, this spa where people are secretly using turtles to keep them looking youthful and keep them looking young. Yeah, it's pretty messed up, but they don't realize it right away. They just go to the beach, and that's when these people show up once again to cause chaos and steal all of those baby turtles. So it's up to Eileen to motivate all these baby turtles to take back what is theirs. And I just love the ending sequence of this episode where all of the turtles are just going around and just like slapping people out of existence.
And breathe. Just keep breathing. Keep breathing.
I think it's so funny. The turtles are just wreaking havoc, eating everybody there. I don't even think they're eating them. I think they're just rejuvenating them out of existence. And I thought it was so funny. It was so good. And eventually it ends with the turtles driving a cop car and murdering these cops and these spa guys. And it's just so good. It's so funny. I love it so much. This episode overall is just really good for a lot of things. I mean, we get some Rigby and Eileen developments in their character. And on the side, we also have some Mordecai, CJ, and Margaret developments where Eileen wishes that Margaret could be there. And this is stuff that actually works for me because you have a really good premise for the episode, but just on the side you put that relationship drama stuff with Margaret showing up in the end to like out the spa as using turtles for like the horrible purposes and abusing animals. That's a good way to do it. And you had CJ who called Margaret in the first place, and it's a good way to have the love triangle stuff but not make it centerfold of an entire episode, because the main premise of the episode should still be about the turtles taking over and regaining all of their friends and murdering all these people. That should still be the main focus, but you don't have to make it all about, oh, CJ and Margaret aren't getting along, I'm so sad about that. Just put small bits of the episode that are about that still develop the characters but don't take over the entire episode, and I think that's what makes it so good. It's a great mix of, oh, we get a bunch of character developments, but also we get that crazy regular show premise that I love so much, that is so funny with all those silly dang turtles. And coming in at number 5 is the episode Eileen Flat Screen, and this is another episode that is very, very grounded for a regular show episode, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy it because it's just so good for Rigby's character that I love it so much. It's so nice to see Rigby just be such a good person for no reason. I love it. The episode opens with a very weird opening with Eileen doing this interpretive dance as a piece of bubble gum getting thrown away. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. But with this dance, she wins a brand new flat screen. Eileen Flat Screen. So Rigby decides that he's going to take this flat screen and set it up for her and get it all ready to have a pizza party and watch a show with her when she gets done with school or work or whatever it is. Honestly, a super honorable thing to do. So we just get this montage of Rigby, Mordecai, and CJ all setting up this flat screen, having a good time, Rigby with his utility whip, and it's honestly super enjoyable to just see Rigby go out of his way to do something super nice. And then we have the other thing about this, that Eileen has a roommate named Joanne. And Joanne has a Hanatronic TV that nobody is allowed to touch or she'll punch their face. Rigby does it anyway, so this leads to Joanne stealing the brand new flat screen TV and running away with it like some kind of ape woman. So they have to chase her, and they chase her down all the way to this bridge, and she's about to throw the TV off the edge, and Rigby just gives a big impassioned speech about why she shouldn't do this, but she's gonna do it anyway. So Rigby is able to save the TV with his utility whip, and Joanne's TV gets blown off the bridge because Rigby took it as a way to fight fire with fire. It gets blown off. And apparently Joanne was a super rich person, and she wanted to live the life as a commoner, and all she had to do was protect this TV, but because she couldn't do that, a ghost shows up and takes her back to her super nice life. Yeah, that was super weird, but I enjoyed it, and we get that sweet ending where the TV is installed, it's all good, Eileen shows up, and Mordecai and CJ are all like, it was all Rigby's idea, and we just get this wholesome moment between Rigby and Eileen, and I enjoy it so much, and I feel like I rank this up so much higher, because like if I have to endure all of these romance episodes, I mean the first 5 episodes on this list was just me ranting for 20 minutes, but if I have to endure all of that, at least I get these sweet wholesome moments about Rigby and Eileen's blossoming relationship that are actually good, and it's not cringe, and it actually makes me root for them. If the Mordecai love triangle was like this, where I get just a bunch of good wholesome episodes about Mordecai and CJ just falling in love the entire time, having a good time, like I would have enjoyed that so much more. I love the Rigby and Eileen episodes because they're just enjoyable. You get to actually enjoy every single character that's just thrown into the mix. Every single character gets to shine. You get to enjoy them. But when I'm just forced to just hate my characters, like watching Mordecai cheat on his girlfriend, watching Mordecai dump his girlfriend, I'm just not going to find that as enjoyable as a grounded episode where I get to watch Rigby do this sweet, wholesome thing for no reason. I love it, and that's why I rank it up so high.
Every day I have one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I've never felt better. Oh, my stomach!
And coming in at number 4 is the episode Death Kwon Do Livery, and I love the Death Kwon Do episodes. I think they're so much fun, and this episode just encapsulates everything that you love about these episodes. I mean, we get some really cool fights, some really good comedic moments, and it's just good from beginning to end. The episode opens with Mordecai and Rigby wanting to try Sensei's brand new sandwich, the sandwich of health. And he's just taking a bite of it. He just goes, oh, my stomach, and just collapses to the ground.
Oh, my stomach!
So they have to find a way to get him a brand new stomach, and because of his size and stature, you know, the doctor does not put that lightly, they have to go to the Death Kwon Do hospital to get him a brand new stomach that is capable of, you know, handling him. So it's up to Mordecai, Rigby, and Jerry, Sensei's apprentice, to go there and get a brand new stomach. And just all of the fights that we get leading up to this are honestly super awesome. Just so many cool fights using a bunch of different cool, like, doctor-like utensils. I enjoyed that so much. And then they're about to get the stomach, and that's when Jerry is all like, betrayal of death, boom, and kills the guy who's giving them the stomach, and is all like, I need it too, because apparently he's been sneaking and having sandwich of life sandwiches just every single time that he could, because Sensei wouldn't let him, so he's been eating sandwich after sandwich after sandwich, and he also needs a brand new stomach. And so Mordecai and Rigby have to fight Jerry. Jerry is able to escape. He gets all the way there. We get a short brawl between Sensei and Jerry, and the doctors obviously don't want to help Jerry or work on Jerry at all, so Jerry's like, I'll do it myself then. He goes to have a little huff of anesthesia, and he's all like, and he's, and just passes out, and I thought that was so funny.
Let's get things started with some anesthesia. Just a little whiff.
That was so good. That was just, why would you even try that? That doesn't even make any sense. So Jerry passes out, and they're going to do the operation on Sensei, and Jerry sneaks in there, and we get one final fight between Mordecai, Rigby, and Jerry, a anesthesia high Jerry. That was pretty good, and they're able to defeat him, and Sensei gets a brand new stomach. Very good, very awesome, and a very epic episode. Definitely one of the best in season 4. So many comedic moments, especially from Sensei. I enjoy him so much, and that anesthesia bit, that just had me chuckling every time I watch it. And yeah, it's definitely one of the best of season 4. I enjoyed it a lot.
Because my name is not Thomas. It is Nikolai. And I am Russian spy.
And coming in at number 3 is the episode The Real Thomas. And if you're going to take a character that you barely used, I don't even know why they introduced Thomas in the first place, and give him such a epic exit to the show for no reason, I'm honestly going to be all for it, because this episode was pretty dang epic for a character that got absolutely no love for 3 entire seasons. This episode was honestly so crazy. It just opens with Rigby, you know, having a pizza pouch dream where he's making a pizza pouch, and he sees Thomas fighting a bunch of spies, and it turns out that Thomas is a Russian spy.
I think you're in a dream, dude.
So the beginning of this episode is just Rigby being super paranoid until eventually they all get, tied up, put in this room, and it's revealed that Thomas is not Thomas at all. He is Nikolai, and he is a Russian spy. On the other hand, we also have Benson, who is showing Natalia around the park, who is also another Russian spy, and Benson thinks that he's in love with her, but turns out that she was just, trying to get them all in the same room and tie them all up so that she could take over this park. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff, but either way, Thomas reveals his origin story about how he is a member of the KGB, and he was trained and sent on this mission to evaluate parks and see why Russia has just such backwards, horrible parks compared to America. Yeah, very interesting concept, but then they decide that they're going to lift the entire park off the ground and sail it all the way to Russia using rockets and jets and stuff. Yeah, it's all super crazy. It makes no sense, and the entire park crew has to fight back against this, and they're fighting against Anatoly, they're fighting against Natalia, and they have to make Thomas come to his senses and say, hey man, we had some good times, didn't we? And he literally just thinks back about one time where they rubbed his head, and that's about it. That's the only good time, because every other moment was them just treating him like garbage. But either way, Thomas comes to his senses, helps them save the park.
Yeah, it does. Being buddies means something, and the park means something.
They're able to stop the park from getting blown up because that was Russia's true intentions, and he saves his friend, saves the park. Natalia dies, and Benson is upset about this for some odd reason. But yeah, overall, a really crazy special, a really crazy episode, and it was not anything that I was expecting, especially as a kid. I didn't expect Thomas to go anywhere as a character, but for them to do this was honestly so epic. It's a perfect way to take a character that everyone in your entire fan base is looking at like, gosh, I wish that they would do more with him. And yeah, they definitely did more with him. The only thing that I would really wish that came from this was, instead of maybe Thomas leaving the show after this, maybe that was just a part of his character now. Like, he's just this Russian spy. And I mean, it's a regular show. You could get away with it. You could get away with him not being arrested. Just how about he's maybe having a conversation with the guys, he's raking leaves, and he just has to stop for a second and just punch a guy in the face who's trying to arrest him. That could have been the gag for his character for the entire rest of the show, and he could have been featured more. He could have just been Russian Thomas. He could have just been Nikolai. I think that would have been super enjoyable, but no, this is basically the last time we get to see Thomas until Guys Night 2, which really sucks, because I would have loved for this to just be a evolution of his character instead of the end of Thomas being in the show. But I'm glad that Thomas got a really cool send-off, and they honestly made it kind of work in the show to just go back in the past and show Thomas in hiding, and how he was hiding as a Russian spy, and how he was kind of faking being useless a lot of the time so that he could do all of his Russian spy stuff. I thought that was super interesting, and I thought it was a really interesting way to take his character. I just wish we got more Thomas after this. I really do. But either way, very good special. Definitely earns the number 3 spot.
All of them. All of them! Put all of them together! Now!
And coming in at number 2, it's the episode The White Elephant Gift Exchange. And other than the Christmas special, I think this is my favorite Christmas episode in the entire series, just mainly because of the end of it. It can just live rent-free in my head. It's so funny. The episode is all about how Muscleman just keeps giving horrible gift after horrible gift after horrible gift for the White Elephant Gift Exchange, and just making everyone's lives a living nightmare.
Because they're made of my old underwear.
So everybody comes together to rig the game and make it so Muscleman has no other choice but to pick their gift at the end. That is just a combination of all of the horrible things that they want to do to Muscleman, and I just love it so much. I love all of the build-up with everybody going around to stores, getting all of this stuff, Benson hiring an elf, all of this different stuff, so that they could prank Muscleman. I love it so much. It gives you so much tension. You're just ready for it in the end. And then they actually start playing the game, and they're using salad accessories as all of the other gifts to make sure Muscleman doesn't want to steal any of the gifts.
All of them. All of them! Put all of them together! Now!
And of course, Muscleman doesn't, and then it comes to Rigby, and Rigby has the horrible fate of having to open Muscleman's gift. But it turns out to be a TV! So everybody gets sucked into the white elephant, literal white elephant's dimension, and he's all like, you guys had to go and rig the game. And so they decide that they're going to go back to the real world and tell Muscleman that it's all just a prank and to not open the gift. But it turns out inside of the TV box is just a bunch of Chinese food. It was a prank all along, so they let Muscleman open that gift. In this entire sequence, we get have a holly jolly Christmas in the background of Muscleman just getting destroyed, and it's all so funny.
Say hello to friends you know, and every...
I love it so much. He gets hit with baseballs. He gets like underwear gloves thrown into his mouth. He gets hit with a jar full of like really old ranch. He gets an elf jumping out of the Christmas present and just elbow dropping him.
Have a holly jolly Christmas.
It's all so good. It's so funny, and I love it so much. I'm so glad that Muscleman finally was the one to just have this ultimate prank done on him, and I will always rewatch this episode around Christmas time just because it's so funny. It's so good, and it's definitely one of the best episodes of regular show, and definitely one of the best episodes in season 6. It's just peak.
Luna Goosawary X.
And coming in at number 1, the best episode of regular show season 6 has to be Brilliant Century Duck Crisis Special. This episode is just so good. It's just packed with so many references to so many different shows, and I just love it so much. The episode opens with Pops just screaming, and he's just like, "It was a dinosaur! I've been attacked by a dinosaur! Help me!" And so Mordecai and Rigby are tasked with going and taking care of this dinosaur, and it turns out to just be a cassowary. And I love all of the scenes with the cassowary because I just think it's so funny how they're just trying to shoot away by honking at it, and then it just fires a missile at them. I thought that was so funny. And it's revealed that it's the Pleco Foundation working with this cassowary and the geese. And that's when we get one of the most epic fights in all of regular show. All of our park members plus the baby ducks versus the geese, the Pleco Foundation. It's just so good. It's honestly peak regular show. Definitely the best fight in the entire series. I mean, how could you even argue against it? I mean, you just have them evolving and growing and just becoming stronger over and over and over again. All of these different versions as they just keep adding stuff to their masses and just keep fighting.
That's all you got! Moto Goosawary X!
It's just so good. They eventually go all the way out into space. It's just visually stunning. We just get so many great scenes, so many great character moments mixed with comedy, and I love it so much. You can't even argue that there's a better fight than this, a better scene than this. It is definitely one of my favorite specials in the entire show. I can't get over how good it is. The entire fight sequence is amazing. All of our characters get to shine in one way or another. All of our characters are featured. The Pleco Foundation is just a great villain to have. The geese are back, and the geese are one of the best villains in the entire series.
Launch the Nega Missile!
We get so many great moments, and I love this episode so much. It is definitely the best episode in season 6. It just has to be for the fights, the comedy, the overarching story. All of our characters are featured. We could just, I love it so much. I'm not going to go too into detail because I could honestly talk about this episode in its own video where I just go through the Brilliant Century Duck Crisis special. But like overall, you just cannot argue that any episode in the season was better than that. And it's definitely in the top 10 of my regular show episodes just out of the entire series. It's so good. Peak regular show, definitely earns the number 1 spot.
Luna Goosawary X.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. It goes a long way in helping me out and keeping me motivated to bring you videos like this almost every single day. As that said, this is part 6 of my 9-part series of ranking every single episode in regular show, so we still have 4 more parts to go with season 7, 8, and 3 more parts to go with season 7, 8, and the final part where I rank every single episode in regular show. All of them, all over 200. It'll be a lot of fun, and I got my SpongeBob ranking coming. I'm going to be talking about BoJack, South Park, and I'm getting a lot of people asking about Courage the Cowardly Dog, so I might add that back to the list. The video just didn't do well originally, so I mean, we'll see what happens, you know? There's a lot of good stuff on the way, and you don't want to miss it, so yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you disagree with my list, please let me know why down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond to you. I always try to respond to everybody that I can, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.